This is acrylic paint, and this is oil paint. But which one is better? Well, that is not a simple answer. I'm going to break down the pros and cons of acrylics and oils for you, everything from usability and beginner friendliness to how durable the paints are. I'm going to lay it all out for you and at the very end give my honest opinion on which paint I think would be more suited to you as an artist. So if you're an artist looking to get into painting and you don't know which one to start with, or even if you already use one of these and you're thinking about trying the other, well, hopefully this video will help in your decision making. Let's start with acrylics. With acrylics, you have a lot less to learn than with oils. You also are using water rather than solvent, and it just feels a lot less daunting. It's quick drying, so mistakes are easily covered up, and all in all, I think it's a great starting paint. If you were to wake up tomorrow and be like, I want to learn how to paint, you'd be able to pick up a pack of acrylics and without any prior knowledge, make a pretty decent piece, because it doesn't really take much to get the hang of them. So because of that, I'm going to give acrylics a 9 and oils a 4 for beginner friendliness. Because I really don't think that you could just pick up a pack of oils and paint something without not knowing anything. There is rules like the fat over lean rule and generally just how to work the paint. But just because oil takes a bit more time to get the hang of, I wouldn't let that dissuade you if you really want to learn oils. Especially since once you have learned how to use oils, I would say they're a lot easier to use than acrylics. Which leads me on to my next point, which is usability. It's a really hot day today, and I have a fan on so that I don't bake, and it's right onto my palette as well, so all my paints are drying out so fast. Even with an extender, a stay wet palette, some days it's just tough. I think we've run into our first problem with acrylics, and it's the drying time. Everything has taken me so much longer because even with, the right materials, I'm trying to do everything to keep my paints wet, it's not working. The weather's not with me. There's nothing I can really do. One of the most notable differences between acrylics and oils is of course the drying time. Acrylics dry far quicker than oils, and depending on what you're painting, this can be a good thing or it can be a pain in the ass. A good thing when you're doing maybe abstract art or art that doesn't require, a long working time, or you want to do lots of layers very quickly. A pain when you're trying to do like smooth blends, like portraits, or maybe like if you want to get soft fur, it can be a pain. There are things that you can do to increase the drying time of acrylics, like a stay wet palette and extended mediums, but if something that you value in your paintings is soft blends, I would consider oils over acrylics. When working with a slower drying medium, it can feel a lot less stressful, and because it is oil based, your brushstrokes will be that much smoother and a lot more satisfying. So for usability, oils are getting a pretty high rating because they are just a dream to paint with. Moving on to the finished look. How do these paints look when they're both completed? Well, I think this one is a clear winner for me. Of course, neither of these have been varnished, and that would make the paints look more fresh and more vibrant. But from my experience, oils look better completed. This was the most unexpected change for me when I started using oils over acrylics, and I didn't realise that the colours would be that much bolder. They're more saturated and my dark areas have some real depth. For this little test, I used the exact same colours and I even tried to mix them the same. But this level of saturation on the oil side would be pretty much impossible with acrylics. As soon as I knew what kind of finish I was missing out on with acrylic, it's now hard to go back. As well with acrylics, you often get a very textured surface at the end, and I don't mean good brush strokey texture, it's from the blending. I do a lot of dry blending with my acrylics, and this technique up close, it does leave quite a textured look. But also, I wouldn't let that be something to dissuade you. Art is meant to be viewed from a distance, so I don't really stress too much when my acrylic surface might not be, like a really smooth blend if you're like a centimetre away from the canvas. But it is really hard to match up to that gorgeous finish of the oil paints, so like I said, this one is a clear winner. I'm gonna be honest with you, acrylics are way cheaper. My acrylics pretty much always cost below a tenner, and that is for decent sized tubes with good quality paint. All paints will vary in price slightly because different pigments cost different amounts to produce. I found that the reds and the blues can be quite pricey. I got these little tubes and they cost way more than my big acrylic tubes, which has probably, I don't know, at least double the amount in it. I think Some of these even costed me £20 each tube, and that may not seem so bad, but as soon as you start buying a few tubes, that cost is going to stack up quickly. But what does science say about these paints? For a while, it was thought that acrylics aren't as archival or lightfast as oil paints, meaning that the painting would deteriorate over time from light exposure and other exposures. This has since found to be incorrect. Tests have shown that acrylics will stand the test of time just as well as oils, if not better. Obviously, we have no 1,000-year-old acrylic paintings yet to attest to that because, well, acrylics are only less than 100 years old. But it seems that in terms of paint composition, you have no need to fear that your acrylics are lesser than oils. But since acrylics haven't technically proven their worth in this category yet, I'm gonna rate them slightly lower. I mean, the people who did say that they're lightfast and archival are the companies also selling the paints. So as you can imagine, they have vested interests in these paints being archival and lightfast. Whereas with oils, we have proven results that they do last an incredibly long time. So what do I think? Well, it really depends on who you are as a person and your reasoning for painting. Like I said before, acrylics are definitely more beginner friendly because there is definitely less to learn and a lower barrier to entry. But if you want to romanticize yourself painting, you want to be relaxed, paint. Oils. Go for oils. This especially goes for portraiture where you're trying to get those smooth blends and you will be fighting with the acrylics. I enjoy the process so much more when I use oils because I feel like the paint is working for me rather than against me. All in all, just very satisfying to paint with. So as soon as you get past that initial hurdle of trying to learn how to use them, you're good. It's really enjoyable. But now let's imagine a different type of artist. You're all about speed and being able to add more layers quickly. You don't want the hassle of cleanup and brush maintenance. You just want to get done. Acrylics are for you. And if you just want to try painting for the first time, you just want to dip your toe in, just see what you think. Definitely acrylics as well. I think that they are the beginner paint. Way less of a financial commitment, and also it's way easier to learn, so it'll probably be more enjoyable in the short term because, at this point, maybe you're not sure if you even like painting yet. At the end of the day, both paints will give you a great final piece, and it doesn't always matter about the materials, it's how you use them to your advantage. Anyway, I hope this has been helpful, and if you think there's anything I've missed, just let me know in the comments. If oils is the medium that you're thinking of picking up, then maybe you'll find this video helpful, where I show my full oil painting journey and how I learned. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time.